Morning, two-stroke turbo fans. We've got a lot of cars on the docket today. It's a Friday, but it doesn't mean that the work doesn't stop. Whenever I get bored, I just pull a car out of my yard and start working on it, and it keeps me busy for a long time. We're not working on the Reliant Robin today, although I wish we were. We'll be getting some parts for that soon. Stella is watching over the yard to make sure there's no squirrels that are not being regulated. She likes to regulate the squirrels. She'd like to have them in her mouth. One good chomp and the squirrels go yip, and that's that. So I'll give you more status on the nut tree we have there. It's a hazelnut tree, and the squirrels seem to like going back and forth. Stella has just taken off into the shop. So we're working a little bit on this red CRV. Whoops. And also the Figaro. Figaro's up on the lift. It's my personal car now. It has had some valve clatter. I think you've heard that. Maybe I'll show you what I'm talking about. So I'm going to start it up here for you. We did have an oil pressure problem. We seem to have figured that out. But she's got a lot of... kind of sounds like a diesel. That bothers me. So I'm going to pull the valve cover off today and check for valve lash and see if we can quiet that down a little bit. Sounds like a little Kubota diesel in there. It's not. It's a gas engine. It's 989 cc's, I think, and turbocharged. So we've got to pull off the cover here to get at the crankshaft, to get it in the #1 position. Let me turn off this clattery little diesel. There we go. You can hear me a little better. So that way we can adjust all the tappets, as you call them, in England and other parts of the world. So it has rocker arms. It's overhead cam. Yeah, it's overhead cam because there's a cam belt on there. And the rocker arms all need to be adjusted. All the intakes being on this side need to be 6,000ths. All the exhaust on this side need to be 10,000ths. And it sounds like we have about 20 or 30 thousandths on all those. So should make it run better as well as sound better. And we'll check for any problems with the oiling system that we may have had. And Stella, I heard you come in. What are you going to oh, you're going to take a little nap in your little bed. You're such a cute little dog. Did we disturb you, Stella? You can take a nap if you want. The rest of you guys, no naps. We're going to get to work on this car. See if we can get this valve cover off. All right, so it didn't take very long. I got the valve cover off. It looks really clean in here. I mean, this is actually impressive. Pretty sure I've got some loose valves. So this one here, this exhaust valve, pretty tappy. I don't know what position the engine's in. I've got to get it onto TTC, but that one's I don't know. I'm guessing there's probably about 6,000ths, maybe 8,000ths there. Take a little bit out. But it's clean in here, and I'm checking out the oil pump drive mechanism. You can see that gear. The distributor's off the side. It runs off the cam. But there's a gear there that runs also off the cam. Pretty cool how it has that. There's a gear on the cam that spins this way, then transfers to another gear that spins this way, and then another one that goes down to the oil pump drive shaft. I was worried there might be a problem with that when I had the low oil pressure. Supposedly these things stretch too, and they look pretty good. Everything looks like it's new. That's really nice. So let's get to adjusting the valve. So I got to get the panel off. Oh, I already took the panel off the crankshaft there. I'm going to rotate it to TDC and see if I can start adjusting some valves. Oh, my helper's here again. This is my valve adjustment helper, Stella the shop dog. So doing the valve adjustment on, they're double what they should be. In other words, the intakes are supposed to be 6,000ths and they're over 15, and the exhausts are supposed to be 10 and they're 20. No wonder this thing sounded like a diesel. Oh my goodness, it's going to be so smooth and so quiet, I hope. Oh my goodness. So I'm going to keep rotating the engine over until I get all of the arms loose in their relaxed position and set them correctly. This is going great. Okay, so we're finishing up on our valve adjustment here on our Nissan Figaro. Everything looks really good. I'm wiping down the sealing surface. I'm going to reuse the valve cover gasket. If you get out of sorts, typically you will adjust valves at top dead center and then rotate it 360 degrees because the camshaft rotates half of what the crankshaft does. But if you get messed up, all you have to do is just kind of look at the cam and see the base circle, and if there's play in your rocker, you can adjust it. And I rotated it over 3 or 4 times just to make sure. I cannot believe that this thing was so far out of adjustment. No wonder it sounded terrible. Some of the clearances were more than 15, 20 thousandths more than spec. I worry about that a little bit, but okay. It's possible this engine was rebuilt and nobody ever changed the valves, adjusted the valves, excuse me. But some of them took a full turn, like the valve adjusting lash studs took a full turn. One was a turn and a quarter, and there was one that was totally fine. So it's just random. But anyhow, this thing should sound a lot better. I'm going to clean up the valve cover a little bit, make it shiny, clean, put the turbo piping back on, and see if we can fire this up. And hopefully it'll sound like a sewing machine and just be perfectly quiet. This valve train noise embarrassed me when I was driving the car. I'd be like, oh, everyone knows my valves are not adjusted. It sounded horrible. It sounded like a diesel. I'm hoping it'll be quiet and smooth now. We'll see. Okay, so I cleaned up our valve cover with some Simple Green and just a 3M scrub pad. It's a little brighter now. Red top. Looks good. I think we got all our hoses clamped back on. Our valve adjustment is complete. I think all our hoses, all our wires, yes. Let me look down here, make sure I got the wrench off the crankshaft. You wouldn't believe how many times I've done that. Left it on and then whang, 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 whang. The wrench is flying around on the crankshaft. It's actually loosened the bolt up. So I think it's time to start the car. Oh my goodness. What a difference. What a difference. Oh, it sounds so smooth. Oh my goodness. No more clattering. I don't even recognize it. Totally different car. Oh, wow. Went from a diesel to sounding like a normal car. That's amazing. I can actually hear the exhaust a little bit over the engine now. What a transformation. And it seems smoother too. Oh, that makes me happy. That makes a big difference. Wow. Wow. I can't wait to drive this thing.